another late night. I'm down to 3 fingers of cheap bourbon, my last lucky, and a gnawing feeling in my gut that I'll never get to the bottom of this case. It all happened last week. One day last week, in fact. July 23rd, 1937. Why Bronson Barnard invited me in the maiden voyage of his new flying boat was a mystery to me. But then, to a detective, mysteries are common. That is, unknowns are common. Sometimes I know who's guilty. Sometimes I don't. But even when I do, I still have to find out how they did it, when, and why. The first 3 things you learn in detective school: means, opportunity, and motive. That's how it was with this one. I call it the case of the cautious Condor. I arrived at Pier 7 just outside Baltimore at 9:30 in the morning. Even before I passed through the gate, I could see the thing on the water at the Barnard Industries private dock. It was one of those big flying hotels the uptown crowd called China Clippers, equipped with staterooms, lounges, dining room, observation decks, the biggest planes ever built. And this one was even bigger, more sleek, more modern, more powerful, more extravagant, just like its designer and builder, Bronson Barnard. I knew Bronson in 1917. The Great War, we called it then. We enlisted in the Lafayette Escadrille, flew battered Nieuports over France, blasting German Fokkers out of the sky and saluting them as they went down. I was pretty good at it. Bronson wasn't quite as good, but like everything he does, he was flamboyant. Except that day a German ace got him in his gun sights. The crowd swooped out of the sun, unloading a belt from his wing gun. Bronson tried desperately to get out of range, but the Hun stuck to his tail like gum on a new shoe. I could see my pal was finished if I didn't do something. I yelled, "Keep away from him, Bronson! I'll take care of it!" I did a triple roll around the German's triplane and came up under him, spitting lead from my forward machine gun. The bewildered crowd must have heard his tail ripped with bullets, because he let go of Bronson and did a right wing over to get out of my sights. But I figured he'd do that. And I finished an Immelman before he got level. I unloaded another volley into his right side, and it was all over. The Fokker went down, splintering into kindling on some French farmyard. Bronson had seen it all and threw me a thankful salute. But he never mentioned the incident again. I supposed it festered in him, but I don't know. After the war, our lives drifted apart. He apparently kept track of me through my days as a New York cop, with the feds chasing Capone, right up to now. Even though my career was currently a string of divorce stakeouts and runaway husbands. But I never heard from Bronson until the invitation arrived for the maiden flight of his Condor. He must have known that I, like the other guests I found on board, couldn't resist a decadently luxurious free trip to Europe on the most advanced piece of aeronautical hardware yet devised. Besides, I hadn't been to Lisbon lately. After the 11 other guests were seated in the comfortable reclining seats in the main lounge, the Condor began its takeoff. Six twin cyclone radial engines roared to life, kicking up a vortex of sea spray as the huge bird moved away from the mooring. It lumbered across the bay, trailing a broad wake. Then the pitch of the engines rose, and the Condor leaped ahead, gaining momentum. Straining to lift its broad keel out of the water, the flying boat finally rose gracefully into the evening sky above Chesapeake Bay. And as the steward passed the finest champagne around to all the passengers, our host, Bronson Barnard, welcomed us all aboard.
Thank you all. This magnificent aircraft, which I call the Condor, will be cruising at 190 miles an hour. We will make the flight across the Atlantic in less than 24 hours. The steward is passing out a list of the passengers, just so we'll all know each other. Yes, some of you know each other, and others know of each other. In fact, all of you are connected, shall we say involved with each other?
But Bronson, why?
That, my old acquaintance, is my secret. But I promise you this. By the time we reach Lisbon, you and I will know everything. So, until we reach Portugal, salute. My greatest achievement, Peters. The forerunner of an entire fleet of Condors, which will span the globe in hours. It took considerable genius, led by my own, to master the intricacies of such a craft.
Engineering, finance, politics. It seems you dominate whatever enterprise you put your mind to.
Oh, yes, Miss Simmons. All fields of human endeavor fascinate me. I master them all.
Including underworld corruption and international espionage, or so I hear.
It is due only to the fact that you saved my life on more than one occasion during the war that I allow such comments, Peters.
You used to call me Ned when we were chasing Krauts in France.
Once. Yes, once. But while your life since has been one of struggle, fleeting success, and ultimate banality, I have accomplished one miraculous feat after another, culminating in this magnificent aircraft.
Bronson, what is it?
Steward! Yes, sir. Oh, what's happened?
Mr. Barnard is ill. Help me get him to his stateroom.
What is it, a heart attack?
I don't know. I'll tend to him. You tell the pilot to turn around and get this flying hotel back to Baltimore double quick.
Yes, sir.
Bronson, can you hear me?
Ned, help me.
Yes, Bronson. We're heading back to Baltimore.
No, too soon.
What do you mean?
Ned, I need the 24 hours to solve a murder.
A murder? Isn't that a little more in my line than yours?
I wanted to prove I was as good as you. Had to make up for being saved in France.
Bronson, you've brooded about that since then.
Listen, someone on board is a murderer. They killed a customs agent named Gerald Weltner.
Weltner, I think I read about that in the papers.
A star witness in a congressional investigation into corruption in the U.S. Customs Department. Weltner was going to expose foreign agents and Americans who were bribing customs officials.
But how does that...
June 22nd, about 9:30 p.m., Weltner was found sprawled across the ottoman in his townhouse. $10,000 in crisp new bills were on the floor. He was poisoned.
But what's that got to do with the Condor?
A challenge. A 24-hour trip to find the murderers and get the proof.
But why me? I had nothing to do with Weltner's death.
Just to show you I could do it. But now, I need you.
How?
Get the evidence. Expose the killer before the plane touches down.
But we're headed back to Baltimore. We'll be there in 30 minutes at the most.
Then hurry. Now that they all know that I'm onto them, you can never get them together again. Play them against each other. You'll get the truth.
But how did you find out all this?
Weltner was my son.
But I thought you never married.
Illegitimate. The product of a brief fling I had with a chorus girl. I watched over him. Got him the position at the Customs Department. Before he died, he managed to phone me.
What did he say?
He rattled off a list of names. But he was out of his head from the poison. Talked as if all of them killed him. The police had no lead, so I arranged this fight to catch the killer.
Bronson, this is crazy.
No, listen. There's a reporter on board, Vera Simmons. She can help you. She's been following the congressional hearings, and there's my notebook.
Notebook?
My detective's notebook. In my nightstand. It has all the information on all of them. May help.
But who do you suspect, Bronson?
Get the evidence, Ned.
Bronson, who is it? Who is the murderer?
Is he dead?
No, he's still breathing, but he's no good for the rest of the flight.
What do we do, sir?
You tell the captain to get this bucket back to Baltimore as fast as he can. As for me, I've got 30 minutes to find a murderer. I hate to admit it, but I need your help on this case. I couldn't be everywhere on that short trip, so I must have missed some clues. Use the screen pointer to select a room for me to go to, and we'll see what happens there. If you want to search a room, select the magnifying glass. To accuse one of the suspects, select the handcuffs. Remember, you'll need means, motive, and opportunity to get a confession. But you never know what a nervous suspect will reveal if you lean on him a little. To see how much time you have left before the plane lands, select the watch. Select any of the suspect's pictures, and I'll show you Barnard's notebook. The notebook contains background, means, motives, and opportunity. Select any of these, and I'll tell you what we know so far. I usually wait until after my suspects stop speaking to make my accusations or check the notebook. You never know what information you might miss if you interrupt them. Good luck, pal. This is a cagey bunch, so don't give up until you catch the rat that killed Gerald Weltner. Lady Waddington is the wife of Sir Reginald Waddington, a member of the British House of Lords. A worldly socialite, she's a member of that exclusive circle of blue-noses who scoff at world events and amuse themselves by flattering each other at lavish parties, getting mention in the society pages, and measuring their stature by their ranking in the social register. In other words, a real bore. Stateroom 3 was as ritzy as the others, complete down to the crystal decanters and the Persian rugs. The card on the door said it was occupied by Cabron, Schnorrer, and me. Too bad Barnard didn't let us choose our own roommates. I was alone in Stateroom 3. Like all the staterooms, number 2 had all handmade furnishings. Barnard had created the only way to travel, short of strapping engines on the Waldorf Astoria. The card on the door said it was occupied by Shepard, Waddington, Petrovka, and Dunn. Stateroom number 1 was small, with berths for 4, but it was still more than I expected to find on any airplane. The card on the door said it was to be occupied by Kudasai, Maida, Farouk, and Leclerc. I realized I had less than 25 minutes to solve the mystery. Madame Marushka Petrovka is an enigma. A sultry woman of mystery, yet passionate about world politics, especially when it relates to Russia and the Bolshevik Revolution. World-traveled, she seems to be a woman of independent means, outspoken, with a talent for intimidating the arrogant and self-important who cross her path. I was alone in Stateroom 1. The aft lounge was a comfortable cabin, complete with a well-stocked bar, red leather chairs, and a poker table covered with green felt. I noticed the latest electric gramophone in the corner. Barnard always had to have the latest inventions. The forward observation deck was a large cabin with high-backed recliners facing windows that gave a great view out the front of the plane. I found myself in the aft observation deck, which had been designed like a garden room with live plants and a potted palm. I could hear tropical birds, but as I looked around, I couldn't find the source. No doubt one of Barnard's gadgets again. Realizing I was not alone, I confined my search of the aft observation deck to a quick once-over that produced nothing of interest. Lady Waddington, I'd have thought you'd be with the rest of the guests. There's quite a party going on in the forward lounge.
Mr. Peters, I am most disturbed about the circumstances of this voyage. Now, I was under the impression that this was an exclusive occasion. Well, imagine my surprise when I saw the guest list. Why, there are hardly any people of social standing aboard. I mean, really? A motion picture actress? And that nasty little Hindu man. He has been harassing me for weeks. And now to find him invited from what should be the social event of the season. Well, I can understand. Weren't you and Mr. Bernard previously acquainted?
Yeah, we flew together during the war, but we haven't been that close. I'm a private detective, so we run in slightly different circles.
Oh, my, how interesting. Are you along for business or pleasure?
A little of both, Lady Waddington. A little of both. A fellow was murdered down in Arlington a few weeks ago, and I'm just tying up a few loose ends. It seems a number of the guests aboard today were acquainted with the deceased, Mr. Gerald Weltner. Ever hear the name?
No, I don't believe I have. But then sordid things like murder never happened in polite society. However, that vulgar Russian woman seems capable of almost anything, if you ask me.
Vera Simmons is a reporter for the Washington Tribune, and a good one, too. She's on this flight because she was following the story on the congressional investigation of corruption within the Customs Department. When Weltner was murdered before he could be subpoenaed to testify, she started digging and knows a lot about everybody on board the Condor.
So, Mrs. Shepherd, it must be very exciting to be escorted by the Crown Prince of Egypt.
Who? Moshe? Oh, yeah, he's quite a guy. A girl couldn't ask for more attention. You know, even when he's acting jealous, I think he's kind of cute. And he makes me feel warm all over, if you know what I mean. Anyway, now that those thugs in the pinstripe suits are not bothering him anymore, he's been real generous. And we have a great time.
Tugs? Oh, like a Japanese yakuza.
Oh, it was kind of hard to explain. But, well, I guess Mojo liked to play the ponies, and he was having a streak of tough luck. And those bozos were giving him a hard time about forking over the dough he owed them. Anyway, he was having to watch where he was going, because these guys would always be hanging around, and he was giving Mojo the willies. Me too, I guess. Anyway, that's all over now, and those hoods went away, thanks to that nice man right over there. Hiya, Mr. Schnorrer. Hi.
So Mojo, Prince Farouk, was into the mob for some gambling losses, and Schnorrer fixed it. But at what cost? The main salon had Barnard's ego written all over it. Streamlined chrome everything, from lamps to ashtrays, indirect lighting, and Art Deco sculpture. Anyone stepping aboard the Condor for the first time couldn't fail to be impressed. I casually checked out the main salon for any clues and located an Italian-Ethiopian phrase book on one of the end tables. Now, the forward lounge looks like the place to be. A bar, tended by a big Belgian named Henri. A four-piece combo that could really blow a tune. Room to dance. And enough tables and chairs to throw a real party. I tried to be as inconspicuous as possible as I looked for evidence in the forward lounge. The only thing I turned up was a packet of Sin-Sin on top of the piano.
Pardon me, Lady Waddington. Have you seen Miss Shepard? She seems to have wandered off, and I do not like the idea of her socializing unescorted. There are men aboard that would take advantage of her trusting nature.
Prince Farouk, I think it is high time I spoke to you about your liaison with that actress. Your family would be most shocked if they knew how you dishonor the House of Farouk with your fast life and cheap women. What would they think if it was known you spent more time at the Club Marti than with your studies at the university?
With all due respect, Lady Waddington, Miss Shepard does not deserve the ungracious slander with which you besmirch her. She is a talented entertainer and will one day be recognized as the next Garbo. And as for my lifestyle, you are hardly in a position to be casting slurs. Your own antics at the Club Marti would be hilarious if it were not for the disgrace they bring to the British House of Lords. Behold the Tango Queen and her paramour.
Enough, you foul infidel. I won't stand for this any longer. Damn you!
Wanda Shepard is a movie actress. Talented? No, but a figure that would stop a clock. With some success in B pictures, she has a public following of sorts and aspires to be a Hollywood starlet. She's really quite likable, but behind her apparent bubble-headed personality, there is a willingness to do whatever's necessary to achieve the public acclaim she craves. Hermann Schnorrer is one of those Aryan authoritarians who seem to have a permanent sneer on his face. He also owns one of the largest munitions plants in Germany and makes no bones about his backing of Der Fuhrer and the Nazi Party. So, Cabron, you seem to be the life of the party tonight. Any idea why Barnard invited you on this little excursion?
Quien sabe, senor. Perhaps it was to entertain the ladies. If so, I am much obliged to him for inviting such a lovely group of chicas.
I will agree with you on that point, Herr Cabron. Beautiful, yet mysterious as well. For instance, Madame Petrovka. Such a sultry way about her. But something tells me she is easily underestimated. Then there's that reporter Simmons. Too bad she has an axe to grind. Otherwise, she would be quite attractive.
Wanda Shepard, now, there is what you Americans call a dish. And she knows how to have a good time.
Yes, but not a brain in her precious head.
Watch it, Schnorr. Wanda happens to be a friend of mine.
No offense intended, I assure you. That leaves Lady Waddington, a thorn among the roses, so to speak, eh, Cabron?
Perhaps, Senor Schnorrer, but what you don't know might surprise you. Excuse me.